28, for we know that God causes all things to work together for good for those who love God, to those who are called according to His purpose. For those whom He foreknew, He also predestined to become conformed to the image of His Son. What is the great purpose of marriage? It is not that marriage be a little piece of heaven on earth. It is not perfect compatibility. That's why all these dating services that look for compatibility are just so unbiblical and wrong. Marriage is not about compatibility. It's not a little piece of heaven on earth. What is marriage? What is the purpose of it? It has one purpose: to conform you to the image of Christ. That's the purpose of marriage. Now, how is that? The thing that we most think about when we think about Jesus Christ is His unconditional love. The purpose of marriage, sir, the one purpose, if you're a Christian, of your marriage, is God has so orchestrated your marriage with one purpose: to teach you unconditional love. That means He's going to give you a wife who meets the necessary conditions so that you're not tempted beyond what you can bear. But He's going to give you a wife and even orchestrate the weaknesses in her. He's going to give you a wife that does not meet all the conditions, and oftentimes does not meet some of the conditions that are most important to you. He's going to give you a wife like that so that you learn to love unconditionally. And thus become like Jesus Christ. That's the purpose of marriage. And so, why is that important? Well, because most people get divorces, or, just as bad, they don't divorce, but they die to each other. They live in the same house, even can sleep in the same bed, but really have nothing to do with one another. Even though they might treat each other decently, there's nothing there. And why is that? It always happens because each one did not meet the other's conditions. Now, they might be right conditions even. They might be selfish conditions, boyish conditions, bratty conditions, all kinds of conditions, and most of them aren't even right. But the fact of the matter is, a guy says, man, who have I married? I mean, what have I done? I mean, the rest of my life. He'll either divorce her, or he'll say, well, the rest of my life, I just got to live. This is my plight in life. I'm dead, Go get a hobby. And the woman usually, doesn't get a hobby. She just takes her children as a replacement. And they're dead to each other. Why? Because she didn't meet his conditions. And he didn't meet hers. But God has brought you together and even orchestrated the weaknesses in each of you in order to teach each of you to love unconditionally. So when you marry someone and you think, man, there's purpose in this. Why? Man, I just love her so much, and everything she does I like, and this is wonderful, and this is great, and there's purpose in that marriage. But then when you marry someone, you say, well, there's nothing in common, and man, I've blown it, there's no purpose, it's all... No, that's where the purpose begins. If God gave you a mate and you just fit perfectly and you can love her conditionally because she meets all the conditions, you're both probably lost. God doesn't do that to His people. God doesn't give them perfect marriages. He just doesn't do that. He brings His people together. Okay, I'm going to give you this guy, and he's going to rub you wrong in all the areas where you're most sensitive. And I'm going to give you this lady, and she's going to rub you wrong in all the areas where you most want her to rub you right. Why? Because I want both of you to learn to love unconditionally. See, marriage teachers, one of the things they do is they say, okay, both of you come together, find out exactly what each other wants and meet all the conditions. Well, now there is a drop of truth in that. You should seek to know what your wife wants. But that's not the way you make a marriage strong. You make a marriage strong by realizing the purpose of this thing is for me to love unconditionally. And when people say marriage, is 100% on both sides, that's true, but they don't understand what they're saying. They think that means I'm to give 100% and she's to give 100%. That's not what it means. It means this: even though she doesn't meet any condition whatsoever, rebels and treats me like dirt every moment of the day, I am to serve her like Jesus Christ. And even though he does not respond to anything and has made my life horrid, I will treat him as though he were the best of husbands. I will not treat him according to what I think he